Samantha, you are such a great wife. I am just lucky to be with you.
My husband, Henry, who used to say such nice things, would now say,
You are no good because you are just a high school graduate. You are not a good human being.
Henry would only say mean and nasty things to me now. When did our marriage, which was supposed to be very happy and peaceful, start to fall apart? I still don't know what went wrong and how it got wrong. My name is Samantha. I have been married for 3 years and I am a stay-at-home wife and a mother to our daughter. My father has passed away when I was young, so my mother worked very hard to raise me single-handedly. Perhaps it was because she pushed herself to work hard. My mother tended to get sick when I started my middle school. I think Mom was very relieved to see me graduate from high school, that after my graduation, she quickly became ill and passed away. I have no grandparents also, but the company's CEO, Alex, and his wife, Isabel, where I started working after I graduated from high school until I got married, took care of me well and acted as my parents, so I was not lonely at all. I met my husband, Henry, through a friend from my high school. My friend invited me to go to a blind date party, which I thought was a world I had no connection to, but I went and met my husband there. My friends saw that my husband, who had never shown much interest in women before, was taking good care of me and showing a lot of interest in me, so the friends encouraged me to go out with him. We started dating in a light-hearted way, but I was surprised when I found out that it was actually the first time for my husband as well as me to date someone. I was very surprised that I was the first one he ever dated because he has such a great smile with a wonderful personality and looked very handsome and seemed very popular with the ladies at the party. I had never met such a nice guy in my classmates or at work, so I was overjoyed when he asked me to be his girlfriend. He was really cool and kind, and I was so proud of dating him, and all of my friends envied me about it. About a year into our relationship, my mother's condition worsened, and she passed away even after doctors treated her in the hospital. My parents had eloped, and I had no relatives to go out with, so I was all alone. Henry supported me when I felt all alone in the world, so it didn't take much time for me to think I can't live a life without Henry. On the other hand, for Henry too, he felt,
I have to support Samantha. I'm the only one Samantha has, so I should protect and take care of her.
Henry told me that that's all he could ever think of at that time. If Henry had not been there for me then, I don't know what I would be doing now. I can only thank my husband for supporting me then and now and taking care of me very well. About a year after my mother passed away, I found out I was pregnant. When I told Henry that I was pregnant, he was overjoyed and said,
Really? There is really our baby inside of you? Thank you. Samantha, thank you. I thought it was too early because it's been so short since your mother passed away, but let's get married, Samantha. Please, let me be your family, Samantha.
He proposed to me with such kind words. Of course, I said yes and hugged him as he hugged me back, because I couldn't imagine my life with anyone other than Henry. Besides, I felt that I got pregnant because my father and mother, who are in heaven, were being happy and supporting me being with Henry. Just imagining what the future holds for us, I am filled with happiness and couldn't stop smiling. I thought I was at the bottom of my life after my mother died, but I never thought a day would come when I could be this happy. I am the happiest person in the world. At that time, I really thought so. Before my stomach was too big to fit into a wedding dress, we had a wedding ceremony, which Alex and Isabel attended, and Alex walked me down the aisle on behalf of my passed away parents.
We think of you as our own real daughter, Samantha. I have watched you work hard after graduating from high school and joining our company. I support you from the bottom of our hearts, and I hope you will consider us as your parents. Don't be a stranger and don't hesitate about anything to us. Or is it too forceful on you to consider us as your parents?
Since Alex says such thing, I replied, "Of course not. I'm so happy and feel very cherished. Thank you very much." I decided to take Alex's words and was very glad at his words. Alex seemed very proud of walking me down the wedding aisle, and after my birth to Rose, at least once a month, I would visit Alex and Isabel just to show Rose. I am so grateful to Alex and Isabel for taking care of me and Rose as if we were their real blood-related daughter and grandchild. I am only indebted to them now, but someday when I have more time, I would like to take care of them as my blood-related parents. Henry is also very caring about our daughter, Rose, and takes good care of her when he is home. And of course, he takes good care of me as well. When Henry sees me moving around, trying to do all the household chores and taking care of Rose perfectly since I am a housewife, he says,
Samantha, why don't you take it easy a little bit? I'm here too, but if you do everything, Samantha, there's nothing for me to do. I'm so lucky to have a lovely, hard-working wife.
Then to Rose he said,
Rosie, Mommy is a hard worker, isn't she?
As he said this, he put Rose on his lap and played with her. Henry would immediately notice when I look a little tired and would quickly offer,
Samantha, are you okay? I can cook the dinner for all of us.
And he would quickly make a very yummy dinner for all of us. He is really a good husband. However, when Rose turned 2 years old, Henry's attitude and behavior began to change. There was a change in his workplace, and he was assigned to a much busier department than before. He used to come home at 7 p.m. at the latest. After he got assigned to the current department, coming home at 9 or 10 p.m. was the earliest, and there were many days when he comes home later than that. Since Henry comes back home after Rose is asleep and leaves the house before she wakes up, Rose missed her father a lot. Henry spent most of the weekends in bed, saying that he was tired, and our family time as three was also greatly reduced. Then, he started talking a lot about the woman, Meredith, who became his co-worker at his current department. Meredith is said to have graduated from a higher GPA university in New York compared to Henry. But she does not hold that fact against him at all and is always very polite and attentive to him. Whenever Henry talks about Meredith, he looks very happy and always smiling, saying how she makes his life at work a lot easier. Good for you for having such a wonderful co-worker.
Yes, I really appreciate her for being in our department. Meredith is really a very smart woman. She reads things 2 or 3 steps ahead of time and doesn't show it off at all. She makes my job so much easier. She's the only reason I'm getting by. The only time when my husband is in a good mood is when he praises Meredith. If that was the only thing he did, it was fine, but little by little, he started comparing me with Meredith and started complaining at whatever I do. For example, when I was taking care of Rose without cleaning up after dinner, Henry would say, Hey, hurry up and clean up. What a slowpoke. If it was Meredith, I bet she would clean up quickly at a time like this. She's so good at anything she does.
Meredith is all my husband ever talks about now. Lately, it seems Henry is calling Meredith by nickname, which is making me somewhat uncomfortable, but I couldn't tell my husband about it. Another time, he got angry when I didn't iron his shirt before going to work, so he said,
Who do you think takes care of you? Ironing is the simplest chores for the housewife who spends every day like it's Sunday. You can't even do the simplest chores and you just play with Rose and don't cook well enough. What a married life. I feel bad for myself. There are women out there who are perfectly capable of doing the household chores while they work at office. But it's hard to ask the same from a high school graduate like you. Ha 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 ha.
He said this as he laughed. I wanted to say, I'm doing my best too, but I held back my tears and just ironed his shirt, which my husband just took it from my hands and wore it. Of course, without thanking me, and just left to work without saying anything to me. The woman Henry said about earlier, I think he was probably referring to his co-worker Meredith. I cried alone, thinking how he used to praise me, but how did this happen? He had never said anything mean to me or looked down on me as a high school graduate before. But Henry's words were very cold, and I took it in because I did have a complex of not going to university to study further. After that, my husband's words and attitude became worse. He still came home late, and recently he has been working on the weekends also. So he was not at home at all taking care of Rose or doing any of the household chores. Whenever Henry is at home, he would find anything he could to complain about it, so I feel more comfortable when he is gone to work. But in my free time, I would think about my husband all the time. What did I do wrong? Why can't I make Henry happy anymore? Maybe the situation is like this because I am stupid. It's all because I didn't graduate from university. I am such a useless person. I feel sorry for Rose as I was being such a bad mother. It would be better if I didn't exist. These kind of thoughts kept going around and around my head every day. Alex and Isabel were very worried about me as I gradually became worn out without even realizing it. Hey, Samantha, are you eating well? Are you sick? Maybe you need to get a checkup from the hospital. Don't worry about Rose. We will look after her, so why don't you go and get a checkup? Alex and Isabel were both very concerned, but there was nothing wrong with my health. It's just that our family was not doing so well. I laughed and said, What? Why should I go to the doctors? I am very fine. I'm just on a little diet. I tried to laugh it off, but Alex and Isabel just looked more worried to what I have said, so I guess they didn't believe me for it. Even though I didn't realize it myself, but at this time, I always seemed to be in a daze and had become morbidly thin. I guess my heart was screaming for help. I didn't want to worry Alex and Isabel, so I didn't tell them about how Henry was or what he was saying to me at that time. But I was so sure of this conclusion I came up with. Henry has no more love for me and Rose, but he found someone better outside our family. To Henry, I think Rose and our existence was just in his way. There were many signs from him which made me think that way. Since number of Henry's business trips have increased, he have started to prepare for his business trips by himself by buying his own underwears, which he used to make me do, and every time he comes back from these business trips, I can always smell the same woman's perfume from my husband and his luggages. I don't know if Henry was even trying to hide it or if he thinks I'm too stupid to notice. Even if I am stupid and I'm only a high school graduate, I still have the woman's intuition which he should not underestimate. The hardest part is that even though I am almost certain that my husband is cheating on me, I can't think of the life I would have without him. I know for sure that I can't continue to live like this, but then when I start thinking about actually raising a child on my own, being a single parent, my feet start to wobble and I feel like I'm going to faint. I am sure this is where my husband tells me that I am an idiot. I don't have the courage to stand up for myself, nor do I have any confidence in myself at all. I have no parents to rely on, no relatives, no savings of my own, no job in hand, and my child is very young, so there is a limit to how much I can work. No matter how hard I think about it, I felt stuck in this situation that I had no other choice but to be stuck. So I would get more and more worn out and be morbidly thin. One day, Henry came home early looking troubled, so I asked him, "What's the matter? You seem a little strange today. How was your day at work today?" As I asked, he responded,
I got fired today.
"What?" I couldn't understand what he said because he said it so casually. "What? Wait, I'm sorry, but fired? You mean that you were asked to leave from your job and never to come back?"
Yes, fired. Just fired. When Meredith and I were fondling in the company car, an employee found out about it and reported on us, and now the whole company knows about it.
Did he just admit that he was cheating on me now? He was fondling with Meredith in the company car and was reported about it. What a shame! I found myself becoming strangely calm. Does he even realize that he just revealed the affair he was having with Meredith to me, his wife? Could it be that he said it on purpose? Just to see my reaction for it? When I was just speechless and silent, Henry just smirked and said,
Well, now I'm going to be jobless, so you should work as a breadwinner now.
He said this as he laughed sarcastically. At that moment, I felt something inside of me snap for the very first time. No way, I'm leaving. I must have had a poker face at that moment. However, the only people I could rely on were Alex and Isabel. Alex seemed very surprised to see me with the luggages with Rose, but he welcomed me home and took the time to listen to what I had to say. Then, because it was better to deal with the situation as soon as possible, Alex told me to leave Rose with Isabel, and then Alex and I went to Henry's parents' house on the very same day.
Before Henry could lay any groundwork to frame you, we have to move fast.
Alex was very supportive and helpful, which I am very thankful of, and made me realize that men like Alex can run and be the boss of a company. I went to my husband's parents' house, which was 20 minutes drive away from Alex's place, and reported the whole story, including his recent attitude with me and the fact that he had been fired from his job for having an affair with Meredith. I was not stupid after all. I had kept a memo and recording of Henry's words and dates of his business trips, so I used them while explaining the whole situation to Max and Sadie, Henry's father and mother. When I told everything to Max and Sadie, they were so furious of their own son, they called Henry to come out here, even though it was at the middle of the night. It seems that Henry had been drinking at home after Rose and I left, so when Henry showed up at his parents' house drunk, Max and Sadie were both very furious with him, who reeked of alcohol and lacked any remorse. Max yelled and blamed Henry for all the things he did, and Sadie cried and made Henry understand how deep trouble he is in. Then, Max and Sadie made Henry apologize in front of me and Alex. Max also made Henry call up Meredith to break up, and deleted her number from Henry's phone. In fact, Max asked me if I wanted Meredith to be here, but since I didn't even want to see her face, I refused and said I absolutely do not want to see her. Max made sure to get Meredith's name and address and reminded both Henry and Meredith that we would be getting a lawyer to file a claim for alimony. I was overwhelmed by Max's sheer skill and Alex, who accompanied and was there for me, but it was reassured that I was not alone and was thankful for both of them for doing such things to help me out in this situation. Henry's alimony was paid to me by Max and Sadie on the spot. They paid me $30,000. When they paid this, I became worried because I thought they overpaid, but then Sadie cried again, saying that there was nothing wrong with me at all, and I was just a very good wife to Henry, and that Max and Sadie loved me very much, but Henry just ruined everything, and Max said that this is the least they could do to pay for the new start of my life, and that I deserve this much and wouldn't take the money back. I certainly need as much money as possible for my future life without my husband. So, in the end, I gratefully took the money. Max and Sadie made Henry promise to continue to pay child support as well. Max and Sadie also said that they will take full responsibility to check on Henry to complete his payments to me for child support. They are very reassuring. By the time the discussion was over, Henry had curled up into a little ball. Seeing Henry like that, I suddenly felt as if all my troubles had been wiped away, thinking, was I really suffering all this time because of this pathetic, worthless man? I wonder if it seemed that way because Henry and I's positions were reversed, or because I was ready to go my separate ways from now on, even though I had been frightened of a life without my husband. Since Henry was out of job, Henry was forced by Max to work at his friend's, a fisherman on a boat to fish for tuna. Since this boat goes overseas for half a year, once the boat sails, he will be living half a year on the boat. Since there is no place to have fun, he had to spend his days struggling to catch tunas. Max would then collect the salary he earns as a fisherman and transfers the child support money to me. Since it is a hard job, the salary seems to be better than when he was an office worker, and I received more child support than I was promised at first, which is very helpful. Sadie told me with a laugh that when the child support for Rose and the alimony payment made to Max and Sadie, Henry is left with only a small amount of money. It's his fault. It's nothing we can do about it, Sadie said with a laugh, and to that, I thought even when he is off the boat, he has no money to fool around, so it sucks to be him. As for me, I was able to return to my former workplace thanks to Alex's arrangement. I was familiar with everyone at work, and I am able to work in a relaxed environment where Rose can show up at work without any hesitation. Alex and Isabel continue to be my parents, and we often have dinner together and go on trips and enjoy our time together. I have lost almost about 20 pounds, but I have almost gained a lot of it back, and my health condition is getting better. Thanks to the support of those around me, Rose, who has always looked worried for me, started to smile more and will finally start kindergarten this year. Alex and Isabel will also be there for Rose's first day of kindergarten, which makes me feel warm and fuzzy, thinking this is what having parents or grandparents are like. Thanks to Alex and Isabel, who always warmly watched over us, and Max and Sadie, whom I still keep in touch today, all of them show a lot of love and support to Rose, which makes her grow up into a loving and gentle child. With everyone watching over us, we, as parents and children, have been able to spend our lives happily. At one point in life when I was living with Henry, I had given up hopes and thought that my life was hopeless, but now that I am on my own, I realize that although I couldn't think it like this back when I lost my mother, I actually have so many people taking care of me as I am not alone, and thanks to Max and Sadie's support, I received child support from Henry, so I feel that my life is not a waste anymore. I had lost all confidence in myself because Henry kept making fun of me, but if I am living honestly and hard, I don't need to worry about being denied by anyone. I am going to continue to live my life looking forward to the future every day so that my parents who are in heaven will be happy and smiling over us from there.